Hello, Flavio here. So happy to talk about this book that Frank Baler wrote. The book was written, it was given to me back in February of 2020. It sat around for about 4 years. It was published recently in April, I believe, of 2024. There's a physical version here of the book, and the reason why I'm here is to read the passages of the book and explain what I believe Frank Baler meant when he wrote the book. And I think I can do this because I have had many conversations with Frank Baler about the book. He was invited to show up. I wanted to interview him. He couldn't make it today, but maybe in the future he'll show up. And I have read the book at least 30 times, if not more. What's been interesting since the publication of the book is that every now and then I got a phone call from somebody saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe what's written here on this page," And I start reading that page just to remember what the person is talking about, and end up reading the whole book all over again. So I have read it a bunch of times already. And speaking of the book, this book over here, it says here in the subtitle, an abbreviated mystical novel. People have been asking me why abbreviated. It seems quite extensive. Well, it is abbreviated because the full mystical story, the complete story, is being published now in 3 volumes. It's a little bit larger than this. I believe it came out to about 150,000 or 120,000 words, somewhere in there. So we cut out a lot of material that we didn't think was essential for the abbreviated mystical novel, just to make it more manageable to publish, to read. Essentially, just the main points of the book are here, because the book is really not so much about his life. That's not all that important. What's more important is the mystical process that he introduces and presents in the book, which we're going to begin reading about now and explaining and commenting on. But also, what Frank wanted to show you in this book was, he wrote, you know how the DNA molecule, you all have seen this picture, right? It's like this double helix, right? He wrote this like a double helix. He intertwined 2 different stories into one. And that's what you're going to see much more clearly in the complete story. The complete story shows a man's life going from absolutely devastated and broken to bliss, to what he calls true joy. True joy, from absolutely devastated to true joy. A man, a physical human being going through that process. And intertwined into that, he lays out the mystical path as he received it, as he understood it from beginning to end. In fact, we're going to see that the entire path is laid down on chapter 1, and then the subsequent chapters sort of work that out. In other words, they explain what's in the first chapter. It's a very, very interesting story if you're into mysticism, if you're into spirituality, if you're into personal growth, and if you're into the Bible, stuff like this. You're going to really like this story. The book is available on Amazon. The complete story is coming out probably in the next month or 2. I don't have an exact date yet. I do have the manuscript. What he handed me was the full manuscript. It was well over 150,000 words. I, as well as other professional writers, have been editing it. I think the first time we edited the full novel, it came down to about 130,000 words. And then we split it into 2, the abbreviated novel and the full novel, just to make it more palatable for some readers who prefer a shorter version of the story. But I also heard from Frank Baler just yesterday that the sequel to this book, it wouldn't make any sense if you don't read this book. It's called Living with TH. This book is called Finds. Frank Baler finds TH, whatever TH is. You got to read the book, I guess. I know what it is because I read the book a ton of times. But the sequel is called Living with TH, and that's coming up as well. So I can't wait to read that book. So let's go ahead and continue reading another passage here. and it's going to be fun.